Hey guys, it's Forza Dave here. Today I've got a quick video for you guys talking about the T1 Valorant Invitational, and I'm going to be going over agent win rates and pick rates, and from that telling you guys who I believe are the top 5 agents to pick right now in your games. So the T1 Invitational was on yesterday, as of the day of recording this. It was on the 16th of April, as you can see over here. T1, if you don't know who they are, they're formerly known as SKT, one of the biggest League of Legends teams. But they put on this event as T1, and they invited a bunch of players who you've probably heard of. We've got players like Skadoodle, Nothing, obviously Brax and AZK, as well as Sony and Kurt, who are T1 professional Valorant players. That's pretty cool. Brax and AZK are already absolutely destroying this game, so really good players to look at if you're looking to get better. We've also got well-known players like Jailmark, Kepri, Cloaksy, and many others, and they came together. They did a standard group stage, followed by semi-finals and finals, and lucky for us, a Reddit user by the name of Anders TV has put together an Excel sheet covering all of the pick percentages and win percentages, and I love going into sheets like this and pulling out the actual useful content, and so that's what I wanted to do for you guys today. So I'm going to give you guys basically a rundown of who I believe are the top 5 agents based on these games and based on the stats. One of the key things to notice initially, and it's a bit annoying, but the map split was not played at this event. Only Bind and Haven were. So Bind, if you guys don't know the maps for some reason, Bind being the map with the teleporters with 2 sites, and Haven being the 3 sites map, which is very interesting. So we're going to dive into this sheet, as I said, and we're going to see what the key bits of data are that come out from it. So here's the document upscaled a bit so you guys can see it better. Just a quick understanding of exactly what we're looking at here. We've got the pick percentages along the top per map, per agent, and we've got the same thing for win percentage on the bottom. Pick percentage is actually a bit more interesting because the pick percentage is based on if that agent was picked on that side, if that team was starting on that side. So for example, if a team was starting on offense for that game, then and they picked, for example, Brimstone, then that counts as Brimstone being picked for offense. Even if that game then carried on and that team ended up swapping over to defense and played some defense rounds, that isn't included in the pick rate for defense. So keep in mind, it's only based on teams picking that agent for whatever side they start on, okay? And then win percentage is done on a round by round basis. So if you look at Breach, for example, Breach won 50% of the offense rounds that he was used on. Okay, so just get that out of the way so we actually understand what the data is we're looking at here. A first point to jump into before we jump into specific agents is, interestingly, across the board for basically all agents, attackers were winning considerably more throughout the whole event. I think this is down to a couple of things. The most obvious one is I think attacking strategies overall have actually been far more simple to figure out than defending ones, basically just pushing all onto site using a lot of utility. Choosing how to split defenders on these maps is very, very difficult, especially a 3-site map like Haven. Even those CS pros haven't had a 3-site map before, deciding do we put 1, 2, and 2, or 2 and 1 and 2 on Haven, and understanding those defensive setups. We're looking at approximately a 70% win rate on attack across all agents, across all games on Haven, which is kind of mind-boggling. So I'm sure that as people learn the map more, that win rate will level out a bit, but I can always see it being an attacker-sided map. But who knows, maybe in the future it will become a defender-sided map when people figure it out. So that will skew some of the results we look at, but there are still some really key trends we can pull out. So let's jump into the agents now. The most obvious one, and I think it's widely known out there of who the best agent in the game is, it's got to be Sage. I mean, look at that pick rate. 100% of the time she was picked. Every single game someone was picking her. It makes sense. She has her heals. She's the only healer in the game apart from Phoenix, who can heal himself, but that doesn't really help your team out as much. She has her res on her ultimate ability, which is so significant. And you can also see specifically, if we look at her win rates, yes, as I said, attackers were winning more overall in the event, but her win rate on attack was kind of significantly higher. On Bind, she's got 62.5 versus 37.5. On Haven, she was winning 70% of the time on offense, whereas she was only winning 30% of the time on defense. I think that she works even stronger. I think she's strong on attack and defense, but she's even stronger on attack because all of her abilities have this sort of group buff where if you're pushing as 5 people, you've got your res. So basically, if anyone dies apart from you, you turn that push into a 6-man push because you can just res them back up. You've got your heals, so you can choose exactly who you need to heal. You've got that wall, which you can put up, and it basically allows you to have an uncontested push onto site, which... Yes, smokes will block off angles, but having a wall which physically blocks the angle off and forces the enemy to shoot it and reveal their location, that's insane. And also the wall can be used for boosts, so you can get new angles onto site. She's just a crazy agent and should be on every single team at the moment. On defense, all of these things are obviously still good, but if one of your teammates dies on the other side of the map, you're defending A as Sage, and one of your teammates dies on B or even C on Haven, then you don't have that res opportunity instantly. You don't have that heal opportunity to help out that player. So she's definitely best when she's surrounded by her team on an attacking push. But anyway, Sage, definitely number 1. Pick her or make sure someone's got her on your team because she's going to give you much better chance of winning the round. Now, number 2 and 3, I think, are slightly interchangeable, but I'm going to put Brimstone at number 2 here. He's got the second highest pick rate across the board. He's sitting at an overall pick rate across both maps at 83.3%, so almost always picked in these games. He's picked evenly on attack and defense, so good signs there. He's really showing higher win rates on attack. Once again, it could be skewed by the map differentials, but he's got extremely high win rates on attack in comparison to his defense win rates. If we look, Bind 71% to about 42%, and then on Haven, similarly, but even more skewed, 77% to 28%. I think that as an operator, his utility actually makes those attacking pushes similar to Sage just so much easier. You've got 3 instant targeted smokes if you have all those charges available. If you compare that to playing CSGO, where you had to get each different person in your team throwing a smoke at a specific angle to get a specific point on site, and then you've got Brimstone who just goes beep, 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 here's your smokes, let's go. A ridiculous smoke ability, the best one in the game by far. You've also got his Molotovs and his Molotov gun and his ultimate, which will allow you to clear out certain points, certain holds, certain chokes where enemies on defense will be hiding, pushes them out, once again helps out your team push. And then you've got the Stim, which is one of these abilities where it's always going to have more effect the more people you have around you. So it's similar to Sage, where I said the more people you have around you, the better she becomes. Well, it's the same with Brimstone, because you put that Stim down, and technically you could have all your team standing on it, down a choke, just gunning through it and just destroying that defending team. So yeah, really good attacking operator. On defense, similar thing. The smokes are going to be super good anyway. The Molotovs and the ult can delay pushes, but once again, better on attack, not as good on defense, but still definitely the second best operator in the game, I believe. Agent. I keep saying operator. Agent. So at number 3, based on a lot of things I've been seeing and from this data, I'm going to put Cypher. So Cypher's the first of these agents which you're going to need to unlock if you're playing the game as a casual. He's not one of the ones you start off with. Sage and Brimstone you have from the start, so try them out. They're really, really good, as I've said. Cypher is another one I recommend unlocking, and he really allows for some of these kind of big brain plays. He's that mastermind character, and I really like playing him. I think he's really, really fun. He had one of the highest pick rates. He's kind of around that midpoint. He's got a similar pick rate to Breach. He's got a similar pick rate to Raze, but he's just above them. But still a decent amount below Sage and Brimstone, hence why I put Brimstone at 2. His win rates across the board, very, very interesting here. So on Bind, he's got Pretty similar win rates on both. High win rates. He's got 80% on offense and then 66% on defense. So teams are winning more just for having him on either side of the map. But on Haven, he had a 100% win rate on attack and a 28% win rate on defense, which is one of the lowest, although there are a lot of low win rates. Once again, this can come down to that skew I said at the start between, especially on a map like Haven, where we're seeing it being very attacker-sided because of there being more sites to defend and blah, 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 blah. But I still think it's a really interesting thing we can look at, because a lot of people from an outside perspective would look at Cypher and say, this guy's like the perfect defending agent. You've got camera you can set up. You can set trip wires that the attackers can't really push through as easy. You can reveal where they all are, so you know where they're going to push from. If you kill one of them, and what's his other ability? You've got the camera, you've got the trip wire, and then you've got smoke as well, which is a very interesting smoke that you can activate, so you can delay the push. So it seems like it would make sense that he would be a really good defending operator, but you can flip a lot of this on its head and really figure out his power on attack. The camera you can deploy from quite far away, so you can put it round corners, you can put it directly onto site as you push in, and you can get completely uncontested info on exactly where the enemies are, and then communicate that to your team and know exactly how to push on site. You can say, one's in this corner, one's in heaven, we know exactly how to go, let's push, and then you go in as a team and you can clear that site. You can also then put a tracking dart on someone just to add insult to injury. It's ridiculous. You've got I'd say your ultimate is actually better on attack, because if you push in and make a pick, which you're likely to be able to do on attack if you're pushing as a group, and you make a pick on site, you can then ult that dead body and you can find out exactly where the rest of the defenders are and where they're defending from. You can say, oh, they've got actually only one more left on A and the other 3 are on B, so we know we can just plant uncontested and the rest of you guys can defend me while I plant or whatever. So once again, I'd say that's better on attack. And then his tripwire is very, very simple to use. You can basically cut off rotations back to site. It makes retakes really hard. You can also do something very simple, like if you're going to push A at the start of the round, just put your tripwire on B, or like the entrance to B from your spawn, so like on the long angle towards B. That means that if anyone's on B and they want to do a rotation round through your spawn, through the attacker's spawn, then they're kind of screwed. They can't really do that. So Cypher is a really good attacking operator, but once again, pretty good across the board. The defense stat is a bit of a weird one on Haven. I'd assume that's because people are hard setting up on one site, like on A, and then they're just getting pushed on C, and it's like, well, I've just used all my utility on one site and it's useless here. So potentially that, but the top 3 are really easily set here. Sage, Brimstone, Cypher, they're being picked a hell of a lot, and you should definitely be picking all 3 of them in basically every comp right now. So what we've seen consistently so far in these top 3 is lots of utility basically means you've got a good agent. What we're going to look at for number 4 is actually the Duelists. So in Valorant, if you guys don't know, they have these names when you pick the agents for the different categories that they fall into, and they've called one category of agents Duelists, and there are 3 of them, and these are typically what we would consider fraggers. They're fairly self-sufficient, and they go about and get kills for your team, those necessary kills, and those are Raze, Phoenix, and Jet. And you can see, based on pick rate, they've all got very similar pick rates, with Raze and Jet having the exact same pick rate overall across the games, and Phoenix having a slightly lower one. And if I was going to pick one of these, I'm going to put one of these at number 4, because I think that you need to have that duelist potential in your team. It's gotta have to be Raze, which everyone hates Raze. Everyone goes on about how OP she is, and I have to slightly agree. She's the only agent in the game with 4 damaging abilities. She's got the breach charges, the kind of C4s that you throw down, which are actually really cool because they give you those boosts around the map as well, and there's some disgusting plays I've seen from them, but yes, they also do damage. You've got the boom bot, which is, yes, it's utility, it seeks out sight for you, but it also just drives directly into an enemy or a group of enemies and blows up. You've got those the grenades. No, thank you. I think they're absolutely horrible. Really bad direction for the game. I think they're the worst thing about her kit. They do way too much damage. They have way too big a radius, and it's not like a Brimstone Molotov. It doesn't just clear out an angle, it just kills whoever's there. So not a fan of that. And then you've also got her ultimate, which is just big old rocket, blow everyone up on sight. But it's undeniable how good she is, and I'd say she's more than just a pub stomper. Some people think that she's just a pub stomper, and that in pro play and these high levels of plays she'll be figured out. But she's definitely at the moment, with all her abilities, the best fragger in the game in terms of just getting high kills. I think Jet in the right hands can be good, but a lot of the time she actually just kind of suffers because she doesn't offer anything for her team really. It's just getting herself in places. And Phoenix, I think, is definitely up there, but he has just a bit more of a skill flaw, I think, than Raze does with her simple abilities. So I think Raze is definitely who you should be picking right now. As much as everyone's going to hate you, going to be getting a lot of kills for your team if you're using those abilities right. So pick Raze, number 4. So deciding what agent to put at number 5 caused a bit of debate for me. I was considering maybe putting in one of the other 2 duelists, Jet or Phoenix. Quickly just talking about them, Jet I actually think, and many people believe, is the best opper in the game. So if you want to run someone who's really good with the operator sniper, Jet's going to just get to the point that she needs to get to quickest, whether it's the window or at some other point down mid. Saying she's going to get there the quickest, she's going to be able to challenge just way better than anyone else, but quite hard to pull off. You've got to be a really good sniper, obviously. Phoenix, I think, is decent as well, but I didn't want to put him at number 5. Looking at the other remaining operators, Viper, I actually think, and many people think, is a good operator if you put her in the right hands and you know someone who can play with her properly, but no one's really figured her out yet. She's actually fairly difficult in terms of how exactly to utilize her best, hence why she was just picked so little. Not picked at all on offense and picked very little on defense. Sova and Omen, kind of strange playstyles in terms of everything that they have in their kits. So potentially similar to Viper, just people haven't really figured her out, so they didn't pick her. So I'm not going to put them at number 5. And so therefore the only one that's left, and someone who I'm actually seeing a lot more of, having not actually seen him very much at all in the games that I'm playing on my own. Maybe this is just me, maybe everyone else is seeing him loads, but it's Breach. Breach is really cool, and he's also unique in a similar way to how Omen and Sova are unique, but I just think his abilities are easier to use. He's got loads of AoE, which makes him both great for offense and defense when you want to just clear out grouped up groups of enemies, basically. You've got his explosion through the wall, which is called, I believe, it is called his Aftershock. You've got Flashpoint, which is a similar ability. It allows you to basically flash a load of enemies through the wall. So the only other flash ability in the game, other than Phoenix's, except I'd say it helps out your team a lot more. It's also better against big clumped up groups of enemies, so like attackers that are pushing in. And then you've also got 2 other abilities which are fairly similar. You've got the Fault Line and you've got the Rolling Thunder, which are basically both big earthquakes. Fault Line causing that disorientation, allowing you to then make picks off of it. And then you've got Rolling Thunder, which is just a big boy version of Fault Line. Knocks everyone up, leaves them like sitting ducks, and you can just clean them up. I think he's a really fun agent to use, and as to the pros, he's got a decent pick rate, and I think he slots in really nicely at the end of a comp because he has that utility, but he also has that damage potential and that kind of powerhouse that you need to back up the rest of the team and mold it all together. So there we go. That is all the operators that I would recommend. Those are the top 5. So running back through them, Sage, Brimstone, Cypher, Raze, and Breach. So in that order, pick them, and hopefully you'll have a better time in your games. This has been really good. I want to see more of this kind of stats coming out, and if there's any other events that come out and there's stats from it, I will delve into them and pull out the key things to help you guys out. So if you've enjoyed, make sure you, as I said at the beginning, hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment below, let's get some discussion going, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye.